guys, this is the Retroflora podcast. I'm Brenda.
And I'm Charmy, and we're just two crazy sisters with an opinion and a channel.
If you like true crime, conspiracies, and supernatural, then this is your channel. Well, welcome. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's the new year!
Happy New Year's 2024! It's the Kobe year.
What do you mean?
Kobe's number is 24.
Oh.
Yeah, so I hope this year will be way better than last year for me. But I just hope this year will be better for everyone.
Yeah, last year was pretty cool for me, yeah.
Last year I was tested mentally, and yeah. But I'm here, I survived. I'm appreciative of everything I went through last year. It made me who I am today.
Good for you.
And so, what year is this? The year of the...
You mean the Chinese New Year?
Yeah, Chinese New Year. It's the year of the dragon.
I'm the year of the rat, so I don't care.
Khaleesi's year. Just kidding. I'm the year of the monkey. So today, I figured we could start the year off with a case. All the cases we ever cover are tragic, but this case kind of had it's just not so heavy on you. It is a hard case to hear though, because it made me cry. But just the outcome that happened after this case was amazing. I think it definitely showed love from every side. So without further ado, as Charmy likes to say,
are you still copying me?
Dang. New Year, same attitude. Just kidding.
Without further ado, let's get into it.
Yoshihiro Hattori was born November 22nd, 1975 in Nagoya, Japan to parents Masa and Meiko Hattori. Yoshi was a middle child with a brother and a sister. He was described as friendly, loving, and kind. He was an outgoing extrovert who loved meeting new people and going on new adventures. He played rugby in high school, which he loved, and he liked to go fishing. Yoshi was fascinated with America and wanted to travel there and learn the language. Yoshi applied for an exchange student program called the American Field Service, which was a worldwide exchange organization. That allowed him to travel to America, attend school, and stay with the host family. And one of the things that he said in his essay that I thought was so cute, and I quoted it, it says, quote, "Wherever I go, I wish I could make that country a second home country." And I just thought it was so sweet. He just seems like such a cool, fun person. The type of person that would see you sitting while everybody was dancing and be like, "Come dance with us," just so you don't feel left out. That was the vibe I got from him. Yoshi was accepted into the program and even received a scholarship from the Morita Foundation. The Morita Foundation? Yeah, the Morita Foundation. In August of 1992, 16-year-old Yoshi traveled to Baton Rouge, Louisiana to stay with his host family, the Haymakers. The Haymaker family consists of Richard, a college professor of theoretical physics. All I can think of is Sheldon.
Yeah.
Holly, a physician, and their teenage son, Webb. Yoshi was the third exchange student in the past 5 years. Yoshi and Webb were the same age and went to school together. Yoshi had no trouble making friends. The students of McKinley High School said he was such a free spirit. Webb, however, was the opposite of Yoshi. He was introverted, and Yoshi helped him get out of his comfort zone and try new experiences. Although Yoshi loved rugby, he decided to sign up for jazz dance class, which he ended up loving, and was extremely popular in the class. Holly found a bike with lights and got him a helmet so he could cycle to his class. That just makes me so happy.
This is just so happy. I'm just scared for it
to turn. I know, it's like a dream come true, and it's just I'm doing a true crime, so you know it ends bad, but he just seems like he was just such a fun person.
Fun, happy.
I know, outgoing, yeah. In mid-August, Yoshi and Webb had a pool party at their home. Webb decided to dive into the pool, which resulted in him breaking his neck. He was immediately rushed to the hospital where he received the treatment he needed, and was released to make a full recovery. In September of 1992, hey, that's when I was born, Holly took Webb and Yoshi to a blues festival where Yoshi met another exchange student from Japan who also attended McKinley High School. She invited Yoshi and Webb to a Halloween party. And so Yoshi's so excited because this is his first American Halloween party. Mm-hmm. So all the movies and seeing that, he's probably just yeah, I'm about to really be living this life.
Yeah.
Yoshi was so excited because it was a costume party and it was his first American Halloween party. On October 17th, 1992, Yoshi and Webb were getting ready for the Halloween party. He had been watching a lot of John Travolta movies and decided to dress up as John Travolta's character in Saturday Night Fever. which was a white tuxedo, black pants, and a ruffle white shirt. He also was carrying his camera so he could take candids.
I actually never seen that movie.
I've only seen parts of the movie. I never saw it in its entirety.
I see like when he's walking down the street. And it's like dancing, and also like in the club.
Oh yeah, that's like the iconic scene of him dancing.
But I just know it because Airplane made fun of
it. They did. That's like when I think of that, instead of thinking of that scene from the movie, I think of Airplane.
Yeah.
Since Webb was still injured from his diving accident, he was still wearing his neck brace, so he decided to use that as his costume. He was gonna go as an accident victim. He even put a few bandages on for effect. Now, I just need to stress this part out. Neither one of them was dressed scary. They didn't have any fake weapons, fake bloods, or any scary mask on. I just want that to be known, like very clear. Since the boys were going out, Richard and Holly decided to have their own date night at the movies. And side note, but the movie they went to go see was The Last of the Mohicans. Richard told Webb he could use the family car and wrote down the directions to the party. So this is like the era of no GPS, no MapQuest. Even MapQuest right now is like outdated, but like no MapQuest. So like people relied on like physical maps to like see things.
I wouldn't be able to make it.
I wouldn't either, especially at night. Like, bro, I have to like pull out a flashlight just to look at my map. But side note, but I just remember those days when I would play my Game Boy in the car. And like this is before the Game Boy had light
attachment.
And I would have to like use the street lights to play the game. Yoshi and Webb left and drove to the neighborhood in the East Baton Rouge parish. They got to the right street, but the wrong house number. They were at 10311 instead of being at 10131. The house was covered in Halloween decorations and had a couple of parked cars in the driveway. Webb parked the car and he and Yoshi got out. They walked towards the front door and it was around like 8:15 p.m. They rang the doorbell and waited, but no one answered. After waiting for some time, they walked to the car, Webb thinking that maybe they were at the wrong house. Inside the house, a woman named Bonnie Pierce opened the side garage door to peer out. She saw Webb and thought he was injured because of his costume. Then she saw Yoshi walking towards her. Webb and Yoshi started walking towards the side door, but she quickly closed the door. Inside, Bonnie goes to tell her husband Rodney Pierce to get his gun. Webb and Yoshi thought Bonnie's actions were weird, but Webb tried to explain to Yoshi that they probably were at the wrong house and should leave to go find the right house. But as he was explaining this to Yoshi, someone opened the front door. They thought it was Bonnie once again, but instead it was Rodney holding a .44 Magnum revolver. Webb saw the gun and realized that they were in a dangerous situation. He tried to tell Yoshi to come back and not to walk towards the house. But Yoshi was already walking towards Rodney, happily trying to tell him that they were here for the party. Yoshi wasn't wearing his contacts because he had lost them the previous day, so he couldn't really see that Rodney was holding a gun. And also, guns were not common in Japan, so he probably thought like maybe this is like a prop or like part of a Halloween costume, you know?
Yes.
Whatever he was waving. And this is a quote from Webb. He said, "He was eager to go to the party. He didn't understand, I guess, that Pierce had a gun. Maybe he thought it was a Halloween thing. He was light on his feet and just saying in a very boisterous way, 'We're here for the party. We're here for the party,'" end quote. Rodney responded with "freeze," but Yoshi didn't understand what that saying meant, and he continued to walk towards Rodney. Once he was 5 feet away from him, Rodney fired his gun and shot Yoshi in the chest and then walked back into his house and slammed the door. That's crazy to me. Even if you were like quote unquote scared, to shoot somebody in the chest and just close the door and just not even like look to be like, oh,
is he okay?
Right. Or even, and there's somebody else with him too.
Yeah.
So
you only shot him and not the other guy.
Right. And I don't know, that just pissed me off because like, come on, you just shot somebody straight in the chest and then just closed the door and what, you thought you were just gonna...
I know, what, you think he's just gonna lay there?
Yoshi fell to the ground. He was still conscious and crying from the pain. Webb ran to check on him and then ran to one of the neighbors' homes for help. Stan, the neighbor, told his wife to call 911 and immediately went with Webb to help Yoshi. Stan elevated Yoshi's legs and told Webb to keep applying pressure. Stan started yelling to his neighbors, Bonnie and Rodney, to call the police and to come outside to help, not knowing that they were the ones who shot him. Bonnie yelled back, "Just go away."
You just shot somebody. What do you mean go away?
Yeah, when I tell you this case is so infuriating, like just their mindset, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand how you could just shoot somebody point blank, not point blank in the chest, but you could shoot somebody in the chest and then just go in the house and be like, "Go away." Why would we go away from this crime scene? We just saw somebody get shot in the chest. Like, we're here to help. Like, why would we go away? In the house, they did call the police, but never came back out to check on Yoshi. It took 40 minutes for the ambulance to arrive.
That's ridiculous.
I agree. It's so ridiculous. And I know this is the 90s, but this is crazy. 40 minutes?
Is it like the countryside? No, it's a city, right?
Well, it's Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I've never been there.
That's the city.
I don't know.
That's the capital.
I know it's the capital, but there could still be like parts of it that are like rural. I highly doubt that this is rural though, but
yeah.
When they arrived, they checked Yoshi's wounds and rushed him to the hospital. The bullet had punctured his lung and exited out of his ribs. Yoshi died in the ambulance due to blood loss. Holly's pager went off after she and Richard had finished their movie. She went to call the number, and if you guys don't know pagers, they just show you like the number and kind of like a message.
Yeah, I didn't know how those work.
Yeah, and then you have to like go to the like payphone or wherever and call that number. So yeah.
I only know about pagers is from Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, the only reason I know about that is because I was listening to a true crime case, and I remember my parents having pagers, I think. Yeah, they had pagers. I didn't know how they worked, so when I listened to that true crime, it explained how pagers worked, so I was like, oh.
Oh, okay.
And it was the police. They told her Webb was fine, but Yoshi was not. She asked the officer what hospital they were at, to which he responded that wouldn't be necessary and to come straight to the station. Holly and Richard rushed to the station where they found Webb sitting alone on a bench. The first thing Webb asked his mom was, what happens when someone is shot in the chest? Holly told him sometimes people survive, sometimes they don't. To which Webb said, sorry, try not to cry. Well, Yoshi didn't, before breaking down and saying his poor mom. When Yoshi's mom found out the news of her son's murder, she went into his childhood bedroom and cried. Yoshi had only been gone for 2 months, so mind you, he's only been here for 2 months. A few days later, after Yoshi's murder, his family flew to Louisiana to meet the haymakers and to prepare Yoshi's body for his funeral. Holly was extremely worried about meeting the Hattori family because Yoshi was left under her care and he was killed. But when the Hattori family saw them, the first thing they said, I'm sorry, I am trying not to cry. The first thing they said was, how is Webb? I'm sorry, like that? Like to come out here, your son has been murdered, and the first thing you ask is, instead of being like, you did this happened, like all that stuff.
Yeah, because usually the parent will blame the other people.
They ask, how is your son doing? Because like honestly, that is traumatic to go and watch your friend die, and yeah, like that's crazy. But like that just shows how much love his parents had, like just had. I'm sorry.
This love and understanding.
Yeah, like they. And it shows like a reflection of Yoshi too, because he was so like caring and everything like that. And you see like how his parents are. The Hattori family didn't blame them for the death of their son. It was Rodney who needed to be held accountable. So who was Rodney? Rodney Pierce was a 30-year-old butcher who worked at a local supermarket. His wife was Bonnie Pierce and they had 2 kids. Police brought Rodney in for questioning but quickly released him and declined to charge him. They believe Rodney was well within his rights to shoot a trespasser, but the Hattori and haymakers worked with the Louisiana governor and the New Orleans Japan consul to pursue charges against Rodney, and it worked. Rodney was indicted by a grand jury and was charged with manslaughter. He was facing up to 40 years in prison. Rodney was released on bail pending the trial. They were not going to charge him
until someone else like higher up stepped in. That's such it just makes me so mad. Like, you know he was in the wrong.
Right. Like, you shot this 16-year-old boy in the chest. Like, and they were just gonna be like, well, he was well within his rights to shoot a trespasser, but bro wasn't trying to break into the house or anything like that. So I don't get it. But yeah, I'm so glad that his family and the haymakers, they didn't like give up, and they went like high up to like get someone to care about this person. I mean, care about this case, to care about Yoshi, because he was innocent. He didn't deserve this. News of this story spread like wildfire, especially in Japan. People could not believe the man who shot and killed an innocent 16-year-old child almost walked free. Meanwhile, Rodney's neighbors were gathering money to put towards his defense. Frank, one of Rodney's neighbors, said, "If folks don't help their neighbors, they're not much."
What?
I'm sorry,
but if my neighbor shot somebody and killed somebody, I'm not gonna help them.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. If I see my neighbor dragging out a body, let me go help my neighbor, because like
they're my neighbor,
right? Otherwise, I'm not much. Like, your neighbor killed a 16-year-old kid, and I'm sorry, but if my neighbor killed a 16-year-old kid, there is no way I would be starting a defense fund for him. Yeah. Especially not in this circumstances, like knowing this, you know what I mean? But let me tell you, it gets worse. It gets so much worse. He also said, we're sympathetic with the Japanese family as well, but we're just trying to take care of our own.
What is that supposed to mean? So you're not really sympathetic.
Yeah, I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but that quote was disgusting.
If your own does something bad,
you just cover it? Apparently that's what they thought. Do you know that people were upset that Rodney was even being charged? They felt like he didn't deserve to get these charges.
And that little boy didn't deserve to get shot.
During the trial, Rodney's defense lawyer claimed his actions were self-defense. He told the jury to set aside their grief over, and I quote, the dead boy, and give peers a fair trial. Right. Dramatic eye roll. Because are you serious? In Louisiana, a person can use deadly force if that person is in imminent, sorry, saying in and imminent is so hard for me, is in imminent danger of being killed or facing bodily harm, which aka are the castle laws. And the castle law allows a person to protect oneself or property, aka the castle. So you can use deadly force to protect your quote-unquote castle. Rodney's lawyer told the jury, quote, that he was no killer, but simply one of your neighbors, reacting to Yoshi's extreme, unusual way of moving. And let me read the quote.
What's extreme and unusual way?
Girl,
that is so vague.
Don't know, but let me read the quote that he said. So this is the quote from Rodney's lawyer, who I have his name, but he's not gonna be named because he's a non-actor, okay? Like, yeah. This is not an American or Oriental or any other known being casually walking up to the front door saying, hello, we're looking for a party. That's not what happened. Yoshi had an extremely unusual way of moving. It's been described as aggressive. It has been described as kinetic. It has been described as antsy, end quote.
What?
I'm trying to figure out how someone is being aggressive and
antsy
and all that when they're boyishly saying we're here for the party
and dressed up like John Travolta.
Right. I'm not sure why this person in a white suit with black pants and ruffly shirt is a threat to you. And he's a 16-year-old boy. And he looks like a 16-year-old boy. Bonnie was called to testify, and she claimed she was scared for her life. She said she saw a web and thought he was hurt, and then she saw Yoshi coming towards her very quickly. She claimed she thought he was going to hurt her. She even said, and I quote, this to me is probably the worst quote I've heard this entire, throughout this entire case, but let me just read this quote to you. I guess he appeared Oriental. He could have been Mexican or whatever, end quote.
What does it matter what race he is? Webb wasn't threatened by him.
She claimed that that's why she slammed the door and told Rodney to get his gun. Rodney was then put on the stand. He claimed he saw the fear and panic in Bonnie's eyes and got the gun without questioning her. And let me read you the quote that our lovely pal Rodney had to say. It was a person coming from behind the car, moving real fast. At that point, I pointed the gun and hollered, freeze. That person kept coming towards me, moving very erratically. At that time, I hollered for him to stop. He didn't. He kept moving forward. I remember him laughing. I was scared to death. This person was not gonna stop. He was gonna do me harm. I had no choice, he said. I want Yoshi's parents to understand that I'm really sorry for everything.
I don't think you're sorry.
I'm trying to figure out why, once again, this person is a threat to you. When, mind you, Rodney is 6'2", and Yoshi was about 5'6". So I'm really trying to figure out how this kid was a threat to you. Not to mention, you have just told us that he was laughing, and already someone has told us that he was boisterous saying, we're here for the party. How is this person a threat to you? I don't understand it. They're not exhibiting threatening behavior.
Walking fast is not threatening behavior.
Right. They're laughing. They're saying, we're here for the party. I don't get it. And then I'm sitting here your wife tells you to go get a gun and you just grab a gun and go out there, no questions asked. I would have been grabbing a gun why am I going outside? I need to know something before we go outside. I need to know what the plan is. And you're just oh, well, she's scared. I'm gonna grab a gun and just fire.
And then just close the door.
And then Rodney then also claimed Yoshi was waving something in his hand. He thought it was a weapon. But as we know, it was Yoshi's camera. So again, everything's not adding up. Him waving stuff, him telling you he's here for the party, you not being you're at the wrong house, can I help you? Even if there was a language barrier, there's somebody else here that you could be like, I'm not sure like what's going on. Or you know what you could have did? You could have closed the door. You could have just went right back in the house, closed the door, and called the police. You already have a gun. They break into your house, then it's one thing. The trial lasted 7 days, and it took the jury 3 hours to deliberate. They found Rodney not guilty, and
oh my god,
yes, he was acquitted of all the charges. And mind you, they brought character witnesses for Rodney, and everybody's like, he's a great guy. And I don't doubt that he's not a great guy. I'm not saying this person is a terrible person. What I'm saying is this person made a terrible, really judgment call and should be held accountable for it.
Yes.
It was not that. His character was brought up and how great of a person he was, but Yoshi's wasn't. And that's what was very infuriating to me. The Hattori and Haymakers were stunned by the verdict. They felt like the defense made Yoshi out to be a dangerous and aggressive boy. And I agree. I feel like that's exactly what they did. If they had character references for Yoshi, I feel like people would really get to know who he was. In Japan, the news of Rodney's verdict shocked the Japanese people. They referred to this case as the freeze case. Many Japanese TV networks offered lessons on the word freeze and how it could be used to warn people not to move or they will shoot. As soon as the Hattori family returned to Japan, they launched a campaign to call for an end to easy gun access. The petition got 1.7 million signatures. Richard Haymaker also started a petition and received over 150,000 signatures. Now, mind you, this is the 90s. There was no internet, nothing like that. They literally went out there and busted their butts to get 1.7 million signatures.
That's amazing.
That is amazing. In July of 1993, Bill Clinton called the Hattori family and offered his condolences for the death of their son. In November, the Hattori and Haymaker family went to the White House to meet the president in person. The meeting went well, and a few weeks later, Bill Clinton signed the Brady Bill, which mandates background checks and a 5-day waiting period for the purchase of a firearm. The U.S. ambassador to Japan traveled to Nagoya to meet with the Hattori family. He showed them a copy of the bill and told them they were a huge reason to why the bill was passed. So yeah, I do appreciate the president personally reaching out and making a call to them. Even though I still don't like Bill Clinton, I appreciate the gesture. You know what I mean? I appreciate him inviting them to the White House. I appreciated him acknowledging. Acknowledging we have an issue here and we need to solve it. Now, the Brady Bill wasn't made specifically for that. It was made for whatever that one president that was shot at by that guy who's obsessed with Jodie Foster. Oh, yeah. I can't think of who he is though right now. Like his head isn't it. His name isn't in my head. But that's kind of another reason why. Yeah. But they definitely helped push this faster. Remember, this was huge in the 90s. This case was huge. It was worldwide. People were looking into this. So he heard of this case and I'm assuming, I can't speak for Bill Clinton, but I'm assuming he was touched because he even invited them to the White House to talk to them. You know what I mean? Yeah. The Hattori family later launched a civil suit against Rodney Pierce, his wife, and their home insurance company. And so a civil suit is when an individual sues another person or organization for damages, such as damage to property or someone getting hurt. Okay. In the trial, the Hattori's lawyer said Yoshi's skin color played a role in his death, and I agree. This whole thing was about race.
They literally called him Oriental,
and not even that. They called him maybe Mexican. And the last part, or whatever. What the does that mean? Or whatever. The judge agreed and found Rodney and his homeowner's insurance liable for $650,000 in damages. The Hattori family received $100,000 after taxes and fee. That is an insane amount of taxes and fees.
Really?
A lot. That's more than half. That's almost 90%
of their money.
Yeah. Okay, maybe not 90, maybe 80.
85.
Yeah, 80. They used the money to start 2 charitable funds in Yoshi's honor. The Yoshihiro Hattori Memorial Fund is a scholarship designed to fund U.S. high school students to come to Japan to study. Since 2016, 25 students have benefited from this scholarship. The other charity lobbies for stricter gun control. In 2013, a source reported that Rodney lost his home and job and was living in a trailer.
Well, I still want him to be convicted.
I do too. But I am glad that karma definitely humbled him and brought him down. Not to say that living in a trailer park is a bad thing, because I have an aunt who loves it. But he lost his job at home, so that is a bad thing, you know.
Yeah. His neighbors didn't help him out with that?
I guess not. I'm sure after everything that happened, they was probably like, please get out of the neighborhood. And this is some sad news. In 2022, Webb passed away, and that meant the Haymakers lost their host son and their biological son.
How did he pass away?
It said that he committed suicide.
Oh my god.
You know what? This is so sad, and it's just like all of this probably stemmed from I mean, like him like going through. I mean, I can't imagine what that's like to watch somebody that you really have gotten to know, even though it's been a short
amount of
time, like you're spending every day with them, and you watch them die, and you watch their killer like become free, like not get convicted. Like, that is so much to harbor. That just really makes me sad. I'm really trying not to cry. I'm sorry. I'm such an emotional person. Like, this case really, like, it bothered me to my core. So what are your thoughts on this case?
I'm sad, but I feel like I'm more mad than sad.
No, I feel you. I'm extremely upset, but I feel touched too. I just feel touched by the Hattori family's love, and like they really brought a beautiful person into this world, and it just sucks that he was taken so quickly. It's like so soon. This case is really depressing, actually. I don't know if we started off the year in
the best way.
Yeah, not a sad.
But it's a true crime, so it's gonna be sad.
That's true. No, because you know what? I could cover other crimes that don't actually result in murder, like theft crimes. I can cover bank heists.
You could have done a supernatural story.
True. Yeah,
but no, you decided to do this sad one.
I did, but I also feel like this is a beautiful, like, just the love that came out of this was beautiful to me. Just seeing such love come from such a country. Japan was really concerned for the United States, so it really was like,
please help us.
Please help us. Everybody now is just like, oh. I told you I saw that TikTok where it said, or that Reddit thread where it said like, everyone who doesn't live in America, how do you view us? And they're like, how you guys view Florida, that's how we view you.
Oh my god.
I was like, oh no, I can't be seen like this. So.
Not comparing us to Florida.
Not Florida. We need to change y'all, because we can't be known as Florida. No offense to Florida, okay?
No offense to Florida, but we don't want to be like you.
If y'all be doing some wild stuff, I'll be having to be like, Florida, what's going on? Y'all good down there? Well, you've made it to the end.
You must like the sounds of our high-pitched voices and quirky commentary.
You might as well like and subscribe to our channel and hit that bell to be notified every time we drop new content. If you want to follow our social medias, they will be linked in the description box below.
Bye!
Peace! Happy New Year's! Year of the Dragon!
2024!
Khaleesi!
I hate you.